So now it has been confirmed that the FBI is indeed after a certain nameless person, backing an Australian-led probe into whether or not that nameless person actually perjured themselves, not to a courtroom, not just to a government, but to an entire continent while throwing 2 employees under the bus. That's right. Here's the Daily Mail confirming something that I broke 5 months ago, by the way. You can see my video down below. Look at that lovely description. But yeah, the FBI, they have been helping track down witnesses in the United States. One of those, Kevin Murphy, has been interviewed at length by Australian investigators, with the Daily Mail actually talking about jail time. That's right. Look at them mentioning perjury. It carries a maximum jail term of 14 years. And noting that sources close to the investigation, they believe that she could be mere weeks away from getting hit with those charges. Yeah, things aren't looking good for that nameless person at all. Now, crazier still are the links to which that nameless person tried to shut down said information. Here's a live stream. This is one of 2 and a video that were struck on my channel. You see what this was about? Oh, the FBI. That's right. When you started reporting on this stuff, you had to be silenced. But now the media, they've picked up on it, and oh man, isn't this something? Now, there's more to this, too. Much, much more. I've heard some crazy things behind the scenes from sources as well. You and I, we're going to talk about that today. And isn't it fascinating that the media, they can no longer ignore what's coming down the pipe? You see some of their article headlines like this one here. Yeah, fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And isn't it fascinating that we now have media confirmation telling us that the FBI, they are indeed involved in Australia. And not only are they involved, they are backing a probe where they're helping line up witnesses and much, much more. Why are they doing that? Well, because that nameless person, they not only perjured themselves in Australia, but you had that person lying to Homeland Security. They've lied to multiple courtrooms. And now, all of this stuff, it seems to be falling down. Now, as far as FBI involvement is concerned, that's because Australia, they are not playing around at all. They want that nameless person. They want to charge them with perjury. And one name, it gets repeated like a mantra at the highest levels of Australian power, Kevin Murphy. You can hear it right here.
There was a question this morning in relation to. I can confirm the department is investigating that matter. So there was evidence presented in the London court case which suggested false statements were provided in the court case in Australia in 2016. So we are investigating that.
So thanks. So what's the timeline? You expect that investigation and decision made about?
As I understand it, the former state manager of Johnny Depp, Kevin Murphy, said in a witness statement that he told, quote, by email, telephone and in person, that she could not take the dogs to Australia because the relevant paperwork and permits were not complete and the required 10-day quarantine arrangements had not been put in place. Murphy continued, Ms. later told the court in Australia that I had told her it was fine to bring the dogs into Australia. That is false. I never told her this.
Yes, so Senator, we understand that to be the case, or the evidence provided in the London court case, and giving a false testimony is an offence under the Crimes Act, so that is what we are now investigating.
Now, the fun thing about what Kevin Murphy said, that nameless person threw 2 people under the bus and wanted them to lie to the Australian government, is he didn't just make accusations. No, he came with proof. Now, the crazy thing about his proof is it comes from that nameless person and her lawyer, Marty Singer. They tagged him into a conversation via email, asking him to get another person to lie. In that, it basically makes everything non-confidential. He can talk about it, and he does in court. And there's this statement right here brought up by Marty Singer. I don't know what your relationship with her is at the time since you fired her. You have to be careful that she will cooperate and will not go public if you ask her to not be truthful. They did, by the way. They asked her to not be truthful. And, well, speaking of public, yeah, not good. Not good at all. Now, the reason that I added all of that in is because it basically leads to FBI involvement. You have to have them involved to coordinate all of this stuff. But even more, I think that they're annoyed by some of the things we've seen, like the Department of Homeland Security being lied to. Listen to this here, though. And remember, this is the same thing I was talking about 5 months ago. But hey, I was crazy back then, right? So the DailyMail.com can reveal that the Department of Agriculture, Water and the Environment responded by quietly reopening a criminal probe, enlisting the help of the FBI to track down witnesses in the United States. One of those, Kevin Murphy, has now been interviewed at length by the Australian investigators and has provided a lengthy witness statement and troves of email allegedly implicating that nameless person. Oh, allegedly. You gotta love that word, right? Hey, Kevin Murphy, can you reach out to Kate James, the assistant that I just fired and treated like absolute trash? One that's from Australia, by the way, and get her to say she's the one that caused that? Oh, that would be swell, Kevin. Thanks. Now, the media, they go even further with their coverage here, and you know what? Them covering this story at all would be like finding a clear picture of the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot in your backyard. It simply doesn't happen, and yet here we are. But like I said, they go even further. They start talking about what could happen theoretically. They know sources close to the investigation believe that she could be weeks away from being hit with charges. Now, look at these charges here. Either perjury or subornation of perjury, which involves inducing someone to provide false testimony. Now, perjury, it can carry a maximum jail term of 14 years, while the latter offense, it could result in a 7-year stretch under the Queensland Penal Code. Now, if a sentence were handed down, like they note here, it's unlikely that the Australian government would try to have that nameless person extradited, so they would be safe in the United States, but she could nonetheless face arrest if she tried to enter the country again. Quote, she could just ignore the whole thing, never go back. But here's her problem. A huge number of movies that are shot in Australia, including this little dilly you may have heard of, Aquaman, the movie for which she's most well known. And the truly, truly fascinating thing about that is that outlets like Pop Topic, they've been discussing how that Australian visa, it may have already been suspended during that investigation. Like she'll never, ever see it again, and that it's damaged Aquaman too. It's cost Warner Brothers money. How long do you think before that it's going to cost somebody career opportunities and much, much more? Now, you can tell that this subject, it unnerves that nameless person too. Why? Because like I said previously, 5 months ago, when I started discussing what was going on in Australia with the FBI, that nameless person and their shills, they tried to take my channel down. They hit 2 live streams, they hit a video, all of that, it got reinstated, by the way. But still, that reaction right there, it tells you that there is something big going on. Something, again, it took 5 months to get the media to talk about. But yeah, them talking about it, it says that this stuff, it's starting to move forward. It's starting to move forward rapidly. And yeah, there may be consequences, big ones down the pike for that nameless person. Now, there is more to this too. Much, much more that can be discussed. And you and I will talk about it in live streams and other videos. But you let me know what you think about this update. I mean, this stuff, it is big. You don't think you'll see it get any bigger? And yet here we are. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff possible, so thank you. Want to help out the channel in different ways, by the way? Well, there are links in the description, but you being here, that matters. So thank you. I appreciate you sincerely. I mean that too. Thank you so much. Share this video everywhere, by the way. Consider subscribing. You know that drill. But anyway, thank you. Appreciate you. See you soon.